Have you ever found yourself, like, totally absorbed in a Korean drama? Or maybe getting, I don't know, Thai food delivered right to your door, even if the nearest restaurant is miles away?
Uh-huh.
It's amazing, really, how connected everything feels now.
Yeah, it really is.
So today we're doing a deep dive. We've got this really fascinating collection of insights about globalization and, well, how it hits something super personal for all of us, our local cultures.
That's right. And it's interesting, isn't it? We often talk about globalization in terms of economics, money, trade.
Yeah, the business side.
Exactly. But the cultural ripple effect, you could argue it's just as significant, maybe even more so for communities around the world.
So that's the big question we're tackling, yeah.
Yeah.
Is globalization, enriching things, adding diversity? Or is it actually eroding our unique cultural identities?
That's the core tension, precisely.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive. We want to unpack both sides, the benefits people talk about, but also the challenges, the stuff that often gets overlooked when we think about traditions, languages, whole ways of life, really,
Well, look at the good, the bad.
and the really complex stuff our research pulled up. So let's start with globalization itself. I mean, most people have a sense of it, but the material we looked at defines it as this increasing interconnectedness.
Interdependence, too.
Right, interdependence of countries, cultures, all driven by, tech leaps, transport, communication.
And trade, of course. Always trade.
Yeah. And on the surface, the benefits seem clear, don't they? Increased economic growth, easier access to, well, everything, goods, services.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty good initially.
It does, absolutely. But what the research really brings out is that this connection isn't just about making things faster or cheaper. It fundamentally changes how cultures interact every single day.
Okay, so it's more fundamental.
Yeah, it sets up this real tension, a kind of double-edged sword, you could say.
Right.
What actually happens when these big global forces bump up against, deeply rooted local traditions?
That's the conflict zone.
It's a dynamic thing, and the consequences can be huge.
Okay, so digging into these sources,
Yeah.
one of the really big themes, and maybe a bit unsettling for some, is this idea of cultural homogenization.
The blending effect.
Yeah, exactly. Like everything's being pulled towards one dominant global culture. And the most obvious example is probably pop culture, right?
Definitely.
Global media, the internet, they make things like music, movies, TV shows instantly available almost everywhere.
Uh-huh. And the sources point out how, say, traditional music, local instruments, they might get pushed aside by Western pop music, electric guitars.
Or traditional clothing styles replaced by jeans and t-shirts, basically.
Right. And think about Hollywood movies. They're almost like a universal language now. Actors, directors, they're global celebs.
Which means their lifestyles, the values in those films, they get adopted too. Sometimes, as the research says, at the expense of local ways of doing things.
And the really deep insight here isn't just about changing tastes in music or clothes. It's about something more fundamental. It's a potential erosion of identity.
A loss of who you are as a community.
Sort of, yeah. A feeling of disconnection from your own heritage. The sources are quite clear that this can be a really significant impact, much more than just, fashion fads changing.
Wow.
And a huge part of that is language, isn't it?
Oh, right.
Language erosion. English especially has become this sort of global lingua franca.
The go-to language for business, science.
Exactly, which helps communication, no doubt.
Yeah.
But the downside, the serious concern, is the decline of indigenous languages. UNESCO, for instance, they report something staggering. Over 40% of the world's, 7,000 languages are endangered?
It's 40%, that's huge.
It's massive, and every time a language disappears, it's not just words. It's unique ways of seeing the world, cultural expressions. It's like losing an entire library of human experience. Gone forever.
That's a powerful way to put it.
And if we zoom out a bit, it's not just cultural practices like language or music, it's the whole fabric of society.
Yeah.
The material talks about how Western-style capitalism, consumer culture, how they get adopted. And that often pushes out traditional ways of making a living. Think small-scale farming, artisanal crafts.
Replaced by multinational corporations, maybe.
That happens, yeah. Local businesses can get squeezed out. And it even touches things like traditional gender roles, family structures. Western ideas come in, they challenge things, sometimes replace them. And that can cause real social tension, a feeling that traditional values are being lost.
So with all these massive shifts, I mean, what about something really basic like what we eat? Are the sources finding similar kinds of pressures there?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the research really dives into food choices. It shows how globalization directly impacts our diets, especially with the spread of, well, fast food and processed stuff from huge multinational companies.
Right, you see those brands everywhere.
Exactly. And you can picture it right. A traditional, maybe very diverse diet in a rural community somewhere,
Mm.
increasingly getting replaced by fast food, sugary snacks.
And the sources actually link that to health problems.
Explicitly. Things like obesity, diabetes. It's a documented consequence in some areas.
And it's not just the eating part, is it? It's also how the food is produced.
Precisely. Traditional farming practices, the ones that have sustained communities for ages, often using local knowledge, local seeds, they get eroded.
By what? Western-style agriculture?
Yeah, often. Things like genetically modified seeds, chemical fertilizers. They might increase yield short term, maybe, but they can lead to a loss of biodiversity, even sometimes less nutritious food.
And the economic impact on the farmers, the local food producers.
Significant. When traditional livelihoods get displaced, when, local artisanal food production, cheese making, baking, whatever it is gets pushed aside, it means a loss of economic security for a lot of people.
It really is this whole interconnected system, isn't it? Change one part and it ripples through everything.
It's a really comprehensive systemic shift. It underlines just how deep these cultural changes go.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting, I think. It's not all just one direction, is it? Not just things disappearing. The sources also talk about adaptation, evolution, or even cultures thriving in new ways because of globalization.
Exactly. That's the crucial flip side. What becomes really clear is that local cultures aren't just, passively accepting these global trends. They're incredibly resilient. They push back, they engage, they reshape these influences.
How does that look in practice?
Well, often it leads to this amazing cultural exchange and fusion. You see local traditions taking elements from global culture and creating something totally new, a hybrid.
Any examples?
Oh, loads. Think about Bollywood films and music. They've spread way beyond India, right? Creating this huge, vibrant space for Indian culture in global entertainment.
Yeah.
Or African rhythms and melodies. They've had a massive influence on Western pop music, leading to genres like Afrobeat, which is this incredible blend of traditional African sounds and more global styles.
That's a great example, but this mixing, this borrowing, it can get complicated, can't it?
Yeah.
Where's the line between appreciating something and, well, exploiting it?
Yes. That brings us to a really important point the sources raise. Cultural appropriation.
Right.
Which isn't just about sharing. It often involves a dominant culture taking elements from a culture that's been marginalized, maybe stripping those elements of their original meaning or importance, sometimes just for fashion or profit.
Without really understanding or respecting where it came from.
Exactly. Without permission, without credit, without respect. The examples often cited, like fashion using indigenous headdresses or sacred patterns, they really highlight why we need sensitivity here. It's about power imbalances, too.
Definitely a tricky area.
Okay.
Okay, so besides this fusion, are communities also just actively trying to hold on to their unique traditions? Like preservation?
Absolutely. There's a strong current of active, intentional preservation. The research shows lots of examples of indigenous groups, for instance, working incredibly hard to protect their languages, their arts, their craft.
Can you give an example?
Sure. In New Zealand, the Maori language, Te Reo Maori, has seen this amazing resurgence. There are government initiatives. It's being used in schools, in media. It's a conscious effort.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And similarly, you see indigenous languages in parts of Canada, the U.S., being taught in schools, in community centers, keeping them alive for the next generation. Plus, there are organizations like the Endangered Languages Project that are literally documenting and archiving languages that are at risk. They're like cultural lifeboats.
That's really hopeful. What about tourism? Does that play a role?
It can, yeah. Cultural tourism is mentioned. It can bring in money, raise awareness, which is good.
Fine, I sense a but.
Well, the but is the risk of commodification, turning culture into just a product to be sold, or exploitation. So, to counter that, many indigenous communities are pushing for sustainable tourism that aligns with their values, where they are in control, ensuring their culture is respected, not just consumed.
That makes sense. Control is key.
And even with food, remember how we talked about the pressure?
Yeah, the fast food invasion.
Right. But globalization, surprisingly, can also help preserve endangered traditional foods by giving them a platform, promoting them to a wider audience through restaurants, food blogs, tourism.
So it creates a new market, potentially.
Potentially, yes. And it also just allows for the sharing of food ideas across cultures, which can foster understanding.
Oh,
Bridges, promote appreciation for all sorts of different cuisines.
okay, so let's talk about technology. We mentioned it as a driver of globalization, but it sounds like it's playing a more complex role now.
Oh, definitely. A dual role, for sure.
For
On
sure.
one hand, yeah, tech absolutely sped up the spread of global culture, made
Yeah.
everything instant accessible. But, and this is a crucial insight from our deep dives, it's also become this incredibly powerful tool for preservation and for giving local cultures a voice on the global stage like never before.
How so?
Well, think about digital tools. They let people document cultural practices, languages, oral histories, safeguarding heritage that might otherwise just fade away.
Like online archives.
Exactly. Virtual museums, online repositories, digitized archives.
Uh,
UNESCO even has this Memory of the World program specifically trying to preserve important cultural documents and materials digitally so anyone can access them.
that's amazing. But how do small local communities compete with, like, massive global media companies?
Ah, well, that's where social media comes in, doesn't it? Platforms like Instagram, YouTube, TikTok,
Yeah.
they've kind of democratized cultural expression in a way.
How do you mean?
They've given individuals, small groups, communities the power to share their own traditions, their own practices directly with the entire world. No need for big intermediaries anymore.
So musicians, artists?
Musicians, artists, dancers, chefs, they can reach international audiences. We see traditional arts, music, food getting global recognition because someone shared a video or wrote a blog post.
So it's a platform for them.
A huge platform. Whether it's showing a traditional dance, explaining a local craft, cooking a regional dish, it gives people a space to express their identity and ensure it's not just preserved, but actually seen, appreciated, celebrated globally.
Wow. So wrapping this up then,
Mhm.
as we've kind of explored throughout this deep dive, the whole impact of globalization on local cultures is just incredibly complex, isn't it? Really multifaceted.
Totally. It's this constant dynamic, this push and pull. You've got that homogenizing pressure, definitely. But you've also got these amazing opportunities for exchange, for fusion, for creativity, and for actively preserving what matters.
It's not a simple story of erasure.
Not at all. Ultimately, what the research really underscores is that globalization doesn't automatically mean the death of local cultures. Sometimes, paradoxically, it provides brand new ways for them to survive, to adapt, even to revitalize.
So the future isn't set in stone.
No. It really seems to depend on how communities navigate this, how they balance those powerful global forces with the need to protect but also adapt their own unique identities. It's an ongoing negotiation, really, a living process.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. The next time you maybe see a global brand next to a local craft shop, or you try a fusion dish, or watch a video about some tradition from far away, maybe just pause for a second.
Mhm.
Ask yourself, is this just convergence? Or is this maybe an example of a culture actively fighting to stay vibrant, maybe changing but still thriving? What new hybrid things are bubbling up around you? And how are old traditions finding clever new ways to shine in this super connected world we all live in?
Great questions to ponder.
Definitely food for thought. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring.